All right, here we go. Super early, but I don't care. Being in the bat. Thank you, uh, Mr. Make Wads Great Again for joining us.
Thanks.
The meme legend. Just a recap that we definitely wanted to do because it's been about almost 2 months at this point. We're 57 days in, and she's 36 pounds down. I think the last thing she reported, and 23% into the goal of what her goal actually was. And so I just wanted to sit around and kind of have some fun and kind of ask you, like, do you remember how you found out about this collab? There was the post that went up, of course, the bat post.
I don't know if I have a specific memory. Hiller's one of the few people, like, I don't consume a lot of social media, but no one believes that, and it's not completely true. But I don't look at a lot of CrossFit social media.
Right.
I just don't. But I keep tabs on Hiller because you just never know when he's like, "Hey, here's a 30-minute video on memes," and then I'm getting roasted for half an hour. So I really try to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Just I try to get a heads up, and I like him. Like we're friends, like so I keep an eye on what he does. So I'm sure I saw his post, and I know Athena, or kind of we've met before. She was on my podcast once, and so I kind of have a working knowledge of her. And so I thought, okay, that's interesting, like a really interesting concept, because I know he's was an affiliate owner, and he's obviously a great athlete and understands the methodology. And I know Athena has an affiliate and understands the methodology. I'm like, all right, that's an interesting pairing. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. But that was kind of the extent of how I got into it. And then, I'm on to the next thing to make another Dave Castro meme or something at that point.
When you saw it, did you ever have a thought that it might have been like a joke? Like, this can't be real?
Oh, no. No, Hiller's not funny. He doesn't. No, he is funny. He's very funny. He's very funny, but I think he's very deliberate in what he posts and what he creates. I don't think he does anything by chance, at least in my opinion. He can correct me if he wants, but I think he, however you want to take this, he's very thoughtful about what he puts together.
I think so too.
Right.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
So I didn't think for a second that he was goofing on her or even doing like an April Fool's thing. I thought, all right, he's legit
April
about
Fools?
to train somebody. Yeah, like
Yeah, I definitely thought. I definitely thought it was an unlikely pair, but I kind of knew Hiller would be the guy that if she asked someone, he would be the guy that would say yes. You know what I mean? It would be the matchup where she would put that post up and he would say yes.
I think
go ahead.
My only initial thought on it, like when I saw it, and I didn't spend a lot of time pondering this for whatever that's worth, but I know Hiller pretty well, and whatever's in his head usually comes out of his mouth, and which is fine because I'm that way a lot, but he often does it, again, my opinion, without fully digesting how the person on the other end is going to receive it. Like he just thinks, like he has said to me many times, "Hey, they're just words, buddy." Like we've had this argument often when he calls somebody an idiot. I'm like, dude, that's just rude. And he's like, they're just words,
Yeah.
And so, and I understand this concept, right? So, and again, I kind of know Athena. And so my initial thought was this will be an interesting pairing because I know he says whatever's on his mind. And when you're the student, that's hard to take sometimes. Like I don't take that kind of feedback well. And so I was curious, how will Athena take his harshness, particularly in a scenario where you're trying to do weight loss, which is kind of it can be a delicate thing for some people, so I just thought that was the most interesting aspect of it to me.
Let me bring this up because if not, he's going to yell later. Jake Chapman, CrossFit, Hiller is Spock. I can see that.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Well, Jeff asked the question, Mr. Jeffrey, why is there so much surprise for Hiller training people? He's been doing it for years.
I wasn't surprised at all that he was training. I was just surprised at the public nature of, you got two public personas. Like he's obviously YouTube famous, and then Athena's written a book and is very popular within the CrossFit community.
He was on Good Morning America.
Yeah, and look, it's really exposing to like, go out in front of people and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go on this weight loss journey." Like that's a hard thing for someone to do. Like I've been on what I've been jokingly called the prison diet for the last 12 weeks. And there is like I didn't even take a before photo because there was no chance in hell you guys were gonna see a before photo of me. And I'm moderately lean as it is. It's like it's a delicate thing for people. It's a
Yeah,
little personal thing.
and she's put that out there. She put before and
Yeah.
after photos out there, which Instagram doesn't even like. So
Yeah, really brave of her, I might add. I think that's really it's a hard thing to do. And I think it helps people. Like, I've got close family members that are larger bodied. And, I think when they see others do that, it gives them courage to also say, all right, maybe I can go make an impact here. So that was kind of a cool aspect of it.
well, then that brings me to this. This was one of the things that over the course of the last 2 months was the most surprising to me was the fact that they could build this. They're not, it's not like he's just her personal trainer, right?
Sure.
They've built a friendship, they've built trust between each other. And for me, I would think that's a hard thing for a larger body person to do, to build that kind of trust with a figure like Hiller, right? It's
Maybe. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the figure like Hiller. I think you build trust in the people you know, regardless of who they are. I mean, that's just, like we all have unlikely friendships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We,
true.
we all do. And, like Hiller and I are friends. And I have plenty of people in my friend circle that are likely not happy with me for that to some degree. You know what I mean? Like they've been hurt by things he said and they'll never get over it. And they're like, well, how the hell could Willie like him? And I think Hiller and I have a real understanding of who each other are and what we're trying to accomplish and a mutual respect. And, maybe it's just a mutual fear. I don't know. But in any event, we get each other. It's a kind of an unlikely friendship to some degree. And so it doesn't surprise me at all.
I just feel like the best coaches that and I'll just stick to the CrossFit space. The best coach that I've ever had is someone that was a friend of mine, someone that I could text, someone that I could tell my fears to, someone that I felt like understood me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And uh, is there a difference between personal training where, babe, you said it better than me.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk to different people and say like a personal trainer is not the same thing as a coach. A personal trainer, you go in for 30 minutes or an hour and you just train them there, but the athlete is not looking for something outside of the gym. And we all know that
Yeah.
in true growth and in true fitness and that kind of stuff, that it's not just what you do in the gym, it's a lot more what you do outside of the gym. So a personal trainer is someone that you come in, you meet them, they train you, and then they go home and you don't talk to them until the next time that you train them. A coach is someone that is willing to do the deeper work, finding out the whys. What are the roots? How did we get here? Where are we trying
Yeah.
to go? That kind of thing. So do you feel like if they hadn't built this relationship of a coach to athlete relationship and Hiller was just her personal trainer, do you think that it might have changed the journey that even she's just been on for the last couple months?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, it'd certainly make it harder. I mean, I'll only speak to my personal experience because I'm not going to psychoanalyze Athena. But I know when you have someone that's invested in you and they're mentoring you, and you build a relationship with them where you don't want to let them down,
Mhm.
you make smarter decisions, or at least you make decisions more more influenced decisions, where it's kind of like the difference. I don't know if you guys have ever done RP before, but RP has an app. This is not a commercial for them, by the way, because I don't use them, but they have an app and they have trainers,
Mhm.
and you pay in both cases, but the app is, I don't know, we'll call it $10 a month or something, or you can pay a trainer, $1,000 for 3 months, right? It's not
100%.
cheap.
Yep.
But you get that one-on-one coaching and you build a relationship with them and you talk back and forth and they're asking you questions and giving you feedback. Like it's really easy to cheat on an app, right? Like
Yeah.
you just don't log what you ate. Done. I don't know why this diet isn't working, with a coach, someone that's invested in you. And if they're asking the right questions, your accountability goes up. So you're less likely to go eat that pint of ice cream or whatever. And in the case of what they're doing, it's even more invested. Again, I haven't been watching that closely, but I've like caught snippets of moments where they're doing live sessions together. And it isn't just like, hey, how many squats you do this week? Like they're talking about kind of the emotional journey and roller coaster that goes through it, and talking about just other things too.
Mm-hmm.
And and so I would imagine if I were sitting in Athena's chair that, she's more invested because she wants Hiller to be proud of the work he's putting in too. There's a mutual satisfaction in that success, which by the way, sounds like she's had a ton of success. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, two things there. The one thing that I know that I think she's lost 100 pounds or a little bit over by herself. And so she's looking to get the last 150 pounds off with Hiller that she hasn't been able to do by herself. The coaching thing in Globo gyms that I see just the most is that, yeah, they don't care. And also they'll tell larger body people, hey, you'll sneak snacks, right? Or, hey, what I'm telling you to do, it'll work. But if it doesn't work, I know you're sneaking snacks. Like, I know
Right.
you're not doing, it again goes back to put down the fork, which I think in this case with Hiller, there's that trust level that makes it so that's not there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, look, the put down the fork thing is I hate to call it science, but it's real science. Like someone said this to me, I forget who said it to me, but it made so much sense. They're like, it's so much easier to not eat 100 calories than it is to burn 100 calories. I was like, holy shit. Like I've been doing this forever. And it's never really occurred to me like why the phrase "you cannot work a bad diet" makes so much sense. And that's it. Like these CrossFit workouts we do, the box jump she's doing or whatever, are not burning a ton of calories, but they are raising her metabolism and helping her build muscle and fixing a lot of other things in your life, like all exercise does. But it isn't where the true weight loss comes in. It's all in nutrition, and it just makes so much sense. And that's why it's so impressive to me of what they're doing, because I think everyone looks at Hiller as, all right, he's the TRT, roided up, strong dude with the big arms, and he's super fit, and he's going to make her do all deadlifts and box jumps or whatever the hell he's making her do. And those things are great, but that isn't where the success is coming in. It's really the nutrition piece, and that's really cool to me.
How did you feel when Hiller did you even notice when Hiller started taking crap in the comments, in the Athena's DMs, and just how could you be her coach? To me, it's her choice.
Why would she be getting DMs about him being her coach?
Well,
like,
just
what are they saying?
I mean, they thought that that he was going to starve her. They thought that he was going to break her. They, just like, what did you think Hiller was going to do to her?
Oh, I didn't think he'd do anything crazy. He's a smart guy. Like, you can say whatever you want about Hiller, man. Like, I know everyone's got an opinion, but I personally think he's a really smart dude. And I didn't even cross my mind that he would have her do anything dangerous or not, sound within the CrossFit nutritional guidelines. Like, he's a CrossFit guy, lean meats, nuts, seeds, enough carbs to support energy, but not create body fat, whatever the, fitness in 100 words is.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the DMs that she got was like, out of all, you could have picked from any coach. There was millions of coaches in this world. Why him? And always my question is, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
My question would be, well, what do you care?
Yeah.
I mean, nitwitted DMs I get a week. Like, you got to blow those people off. Like, it's not, it's your personal choice. Like, I could ask that question of, why are you wearing CrossFit Mayhem instead of Proven?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you love Jesus? Is that why you're doing it? Like, that's that's the kind of stuff that comes in via DM. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
I wanted to bring this up too. Jake I don't even know which comment to bring up for Jake, but he is leading me to the next. The coaching aspect of it again, just because I feel like they're bridging the gap for larger body athletes. Most larger body athletes are afraid to walk into a gym and ask a coach for help, right? And most coaches are probably afraid to take on a larger bodied athlete because however many health risks that they think that larger body athletes have, or if they've had surgeries, or if they're afraid. And so I think what Athena and Hiller are showing is the fact that you can have a larger bodied athlete. And Athena's put this out there before where she's working on mobility. She's working on, I don't think a lot of coaches get that, right? Like you might get someone that needs help losing weight or is whatever, but they don't have all these problems. They can still sit on the rower. They can still do a box jump. They can still, and Athena and the group of people that she's representing can't do that, right? Like a burpee, to get down and do a burpee is hard for them. And so I think a lot of coaches are afraid to take that on. And for me, the surprising thing is that Hiller was willing to take that on, whether he knew it or not, but he was willing to take that on. And B, that they're showing coaches that they can take that on, that they don't need to be left behind. They're not a lost cause. They're not, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, look, I think the target audience, or at least CrossFit coaches, are a different breed to begin with. But let's be honest, like, we're talking, this is a different type of coaching that happens in the CrossFit gyms. And I say this as an affiliate owner and someone who's been in the space for over a decade. Like, I'll never do any fitness methodology other than CrossFit, even after all you guys run me off. But we'd be disingenuous to say that we spend a lot of time doing what he's doing with her in the affiliates. I mean, and when you do it, it isn't in a class setting. It is one-on-one, much similar to how they're doing it now. So I think it's good that he's showing that it can be done. I think we have to recognize that you don't see it often or much in a classroom setting because you don't often have time. Like most of these affiliates are barely getting by, like got 15 people in a class and one coach. You don't have time to dedicate, half your class to a single person. So my point to that is they're not seeking this out as a method for driving their business. But I do think it's something that the coaches that do individual coaching on the side, they should be watching and observing and taking notes and saying, all right, maybe I could take on some of these clients and really make an impact in their life. And bluntly, they'll make money doing it because there's, I don't know if you guys have looked around in America lately, but there's a lot of large bodied people and they all need our help. And, I would love to see just a entire fleet of CrossFit coaches take this on and say, hey, let's go grab some and bring them into the gyms and get them fit.
I'm just,
that's actual CrossFit,
not the games.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. I don't care about the games at all.
Yeah.
At all.
And I mean, I think it's getting less and less. I also I care about the games as far as if it helps the CrossFit methodology move forward. I do not care otherwise. Like I'm not even gonna. I'm less invested than I used to be. But I will say this, and this probably will be unpopular or whatever, but I can't remember going into any gym that I've ever gone to, a CrossFit gym, the Globo gym that we have around here. I've been to 24 Hour Fitness. I have never seen a larger bodied athlete. And again, I specify by saying someone with mobility issues, someone with, surgeries that they've had, someone with it's hard to tie your shoes. I've never seen them in a gym that I've ever been into. Ever.
Well, CrossFit's hard to get larger bodied athletes into for a couple of reasons. I mean, I've got some experience with this. I'd say most of my family is larger bodied, or quite a few of them. And I have heard in years past, heard them audibly say, I'll go when I lose weight.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think that's a very common thing for larger bodied people to say, I'll go join when I lose weight. And when you add in the layer of CrossFit, you walk in the door. I remember the first day I walked in the door of CrossFit to this day, and it's just a sea of shirtless people,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Shirtless, hot. They're all sweaty. They're jumping 30-inch box jumps and
Intense.
slinging weights around
Dropping
and
them, the music, it's intense.
yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are very young, and so you go in there as a larger bodied athlete with mobility problems and I hate to stereotype, but probably with some issues of how you look and like, because I have that.
We all do.
And yeah, and you're just like, oh my God, like, do I have to work out next to all these ripped, shirtless people?
Mhm.
And so it's hard. That's why
I've
you're
said
not
that
seeing many.
before. The first CrossFit coach I ever asked, I was like, "What do I have to do to come into your gym?" And he's like, "Just walk in." And I thought I had to go do some sort of
Something
exercise,
first. Yep.
right, to be
Yeah.
able to go in there.
To
So
almost like prove yourself that you're worthy to be in this kind of gym. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like it's almost like, is there like a checklist, or do I have to meet all of these standards to be able to come in and be a part of this gym? Because you look around, and even though in some gyms you can see the different scales of where people are, but some gyms you can't. It just looks like everybody's doing the same thing at such a high intensity with all this weight moving and all of this jumping around. Like you said, it's so intense in there that it's very hard sometimes for people to walk in. When I was coaching at a CrossFit gym, I always said to my first time athletes, I'm like, don't get overwhelmed with that, what everybody else is doing around you. Like, I will be around, stick to what I give you, the scales that I give you. Everybody had their own little whiteboard, and I would take the time to do that, of where you're going to be. That way you still felt like you were part of the group. You stayed where you were.
Yeah.
You felt like you accomplished something. And I think you're right. I think when you're a coach in such a big class, you do the best that you can to have every person and to have that individual one-on-one time that you could. But doing this and really giving that one-on-one time is where she's going to see the most growth.
Yeah, for sure. Look, it's the CrossFit's scary anyway, let alone when you're larger bodied. And I there's so many other obstacles that come with it. You come in and you go, okay, I can't do box jumps. So now I have to get special treatment. That's the viewpoint anyway, to do box jumps. I can't do double unders. I can't do rope climbs. Those are all things they're going to struggle with, right?
Yep.
Push-ups are hard. Pull-ups are damn near impossible.
Mhm.
You've got this whole laundry list of things that you can't do. And then you get this added kicker that becomes unconscious, but happens, is that because there's still a pretty significant cardio component that comes with it, you'll start losing the weight, but you'll start building muscle. So your scale's not moving.
That's a big one. Yeah. I'm glad you brought it. Yep.
Yeah. And so many people, and I'm going to say this from personal experience. I had to get a physical today. I've been on this damn prison diet for 12 weeks, 14 weeks almost. And I'm as lean as I've ever been. Like, my pants are falling off. I've got visible abs. Like, I am feeling lean. And I got on, and I've been prioritizing protein hard in this diet and supplements, creatine and vitamin C, no TRT, Hiller, if you see this. I'm not roided up yet, but visually when I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn, like, I got visible muscles. I'm like right where I want to be again. This is about as fit as I've ever been. I go take this physical and I get on the scale and I weigh the same amount I did as when I started 12 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to that, but before you, I definitely want to get into that. But before you go there, when you were talking about scaling things, the how scary it is for larger body athletes to walk into a gym and know that they have to scale everything. They know they have to scale it to a really big degree, right? It's not a scale where I'm just going to jump onto a plate that the gym already has. It's not a scale where they can just do toes to rig,
Yeah.
right? And they can use they probably need something like made outside of what that gym already has. And that fear and anxiety to ask for that has to be.
Yeah. Oh, you're putting a spotlight on yourself. So
Yeah.
having to go get a coach and say, all right, I need all this help and everybody's watching you. That's hard. Like, that part is really hard. It's even harder. And, I think people don't want to admit to this, but our gyms are a little cliquey. I don't know if you guys have been in one lately, but I've been in a bunch.
Yes, Mr.
They're,
Woolley. Yes.
yeah, they're very cliquey,
Yes.
and sometimes unintentionally mean. And I don't think anyone would. Would struggle to believe anyone would ever pick on anyone or not be kind. But someone I saw in the comments somewhere, something about a partner workout. That's where you see it. Like people start partnering up. It's like now you're back in grade school and you're getting picked last for kickball,
Yep.
you know.
Oh,
And that's why it's hard to get
Different
people to
for
come
him.
in.
Yep.
Yeah, no different than like I have, a whole group of adaptive athletes at my gym, and we have adaptive specific classes, and they graduate to, eventually to the rest of the classes. And we do that intentionally because you want them to feel welcome and wanted, and to learn people's names along the way. So when they do graduate, it's a seamless transition for them. So it's, I really respect what she's doing. It's a hard thing to put yourself out there and have people watching what you're doing. So, so clearly.
And to clear the path, she's
Yeah.
bringing people with her to go do that as well. And she has to convince them that it's okay and it's safe. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Athena flowers. I usually give Hiller flowers, Athena flowers. Yes, ma'am. Let's go. But to go back to what you were talking about before, was the scale's not moving, right? So you're doing all these things, you're working out, you feel fitter than you've ever felt in your life, and now the scale's not moving. So the last thing Athena put up was that she lost 18.75 total inches off her entire body, right? When she measured her body in a month, she could see that, her arms, her neck, her waist, her everything. Sometimes I think that's a better, like, how do your clothes fit?
Oh yeah. I have a hole in the belt I'm wearing. That's my goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like like that's how I measure. It's like I have clothes that fit a certain way, and I think what she's doing there by measuring other things besides weight is really, really brilliant. I think you should do that in all things CrossFit. You should measure your workouts and track them. I was thinking about this today. I do some work with a nutrition company through the page, and the guy always says to me, tracking's not sustainable, and tracking's hard. I will fully agree with that, but I don't believe it's not sustainable because I've tracked every workout I've ever done for 12 years, right? Like it's sustainable. It's just how much are you dedicated to it? And so, I think tracking, measurements of your legs, your neck, your arms, your waist, your chest, whatever is important as you're losing weight because body composition changes a lot in CrossFit, particularly if you change the macronutrients coming in. And I don't want to make this about me, but that was the point of why I was talking about protein earlier, is that I was trying to get a body composition shift and to lose body fat and keep muscle.
Right.
So not losing weight was not a big deal to me. I wanted body composition change. And I think that happens to people in CrossFit if they change the nutrition at the same time. But if they don't have a good coach like Hiller telling them, here's what's happening to your body, all of a sudden they're like, this isn't working. And they're gone. And that's why you have to have someone in your corner that's making you track this stuff and helping you understand what's happening now and what's going to come next.
And that's the thing that I was thinking about the most is she's been talking about it. Athena's been talking about it a little bit more and more each week as they go through their weekly check-ins, is that plateau factor. And I know that she doesn't like the word plateau, but that's how I grew up with it, watching bodybuilding and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. But your body starts to plateau. There's not enough weight left to lose as quickly, right? And your body starts to adjust. And so I feel like I could hear a little bit that she's nervous about how that's going to look like to people. Like as if Hiller's going to fail or she's not trying hard enough or whatever because she hits that plateau. And so in my mind, I'm just like, well, what are the measurements? Because I think your body's going to change regardless of the weight loss. You know what I mean? Like if you're still doing the things, your body composition is going to change. It has to.
CrossFitters should understand it more than anyone. Like weight loss, as you continue to lose weight, it's kind of like adding weight to an Olympic lift. Like if you're snatching, if you add 5 pounds to your max snatch, you've like accomplished a huge goal, right? But if you think back to where you started, 5 pounds is nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so like as you grow, those percentages get smaller and smaller and smaller. Not to mention, you've obviously lost body fat, so you have less to lose. You know, and as you put on muscle, you know, where your weight ends up could be wildly different. Like when I started CrossFit, I was 40 years old. I'm 53 now. I walked in the door that day at probably 168 to 170 pounds, and I was skinny fat, right? Bad body composition, really bad shape, I might add. But I had been around that 170 since high school. Like that's has always been my weight. Well, right now, as of this morning, I was 183. And I think my target weight now is probably 180. It's not 170 from a decade ago.
Yeah.
Because I've added so much muscle over 13 years of CrossFit. I couldn't get to 170 if I wanted to, not without starving myself and losing some muscle.
I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
If you,
So we often come into this thing thinking, all right, I have to get to this weight, when in reality, as you're growing muscle and losing weight, those numbers are going to converge at some point.
yeah.
And I think that just goes back to the diet culture, you know, is that if the scale doesn't go down, then you're not doing it right. You know, I have worked with a couple clients that literally, if the scale went up a pound or fluctuated a half a pound or whatever, like they're starving themselves. And I'm like, but so for that, it's more about retraining and breaking those bad habits of you can eat to sustain your body, and your body is going to change, like you said. And I think that just goes back to that gym culture of like, if the scale is not going down, you're not losing weight. So you're failing, you're not doing enough. You should be doing more. And then usually what happens with that is that people stop eating. They try to work out more and then stop eating.
We don't see a lot of people in CrossFit really shooting for weight loss goals. So I think that's probably part of the issue too. Like we're wired to grow. You're right. We want to improve metrics. And even if weight loss is part of that, we're also trying to grow weight. So you are going to grow muscle doing it. But I think there are some circumstances, and maybe this is one, I don't know enough about Athena's situation to know, or anyone else is for that matter, but aesthetics are okay too. If you want to get to a target weight, you can use CrossFit to do that, but you're going to have to scale some of what we do, you know, not do a lot of overload on the barbell work, and maybe spend more time on double unders and box jumps and whatever. If that's your goal, that's okay. I think we have to admit it's okay for people to say, I want to get to a target weight, and sculpt the nutrition and workouts around that to make it, you know, like what I'm doing to change body composition isn't for everyone.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm kind of geeking out over here right now. Because we did an episode on changing the culture, or the culture is changing. And so now I'm kind of wondering if we'll start talking about the fact that what a CrossFitter is, right? Hiller told us what his version of a CrossFitter is, which, by the way, I love that video, but also too felt kind of a little bit, I feel like I'm a CrossFitter, but I don't do it to the standards that he put up on his, like, what is a CrossFitter video. And so if you're doing it for aesthetics, it cures the world's most vexing problems, right? So does it matter why you're doing it? Does it matter that Athena's losing it to lose weight? Does it matter that, you know, Joe Blow, pause, is doing it to, you know, look better and feel, you know, better in the mirror? Does it matter that someone's doing it to make the CrossFit Games? Does it matter that someone's doing it to pick up their kids and whatnot? You know what I mean? Does it matter?
No, look, I think anyone can define what a CrossFitter is for themselves. I'm more of a traditionalist. Like I kind of lean back on Glassman's original phrase, you know, CrossFit's for everyone, but it's not for everyone. I think it was something like that, you know,
It's
like
for everyone, not for anyone.
yeah, you know, something like that.
For everyone, something.
Yep.
One of the
Other
two.
way around. Yeah. Either way, the point is it does. There's a certain personality type that can kind of fits into the CrossFit model, but there's a number of reasons why you could be in an affiliate to want to do it. You know,
Yeah.
some people
Just
come
the
for the
camaraderie.
community.
Yeah,
Some come for the intensity. Some come because they like the price point. I mean, believe it or not, there are some that think it's cheap. Some people just like to, just work out with other people that are shirtless. Like there's a lot of weird reasons why people do it. I do it for, I love the community. I push myself harder when I'm around other people than I do at home. Like I have a killer home gym. So one of the nicest home gyms you've probably ever seen. And I work out here a couple of days a week, but I go to the affiliate even when I'm just doing a kind of an average workout, because I know if there's someone next to me, I'll work harder. I'll hold myself more accountable. I'll have people yelling at me, and that's why I do it. I need to be around others. I need the accountability factor. Some people don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just want to feel like a badass, and that's why they do it. And some people do it for weight loss. And I think all of those things are okay. You could make a solid argument that there are hundreds of games athletes, or, pick a number, that don't really do CrossFit.
Right.
Like that, they don't, like, not traditional, what Glassman founded as CrossFit. They're a lot of them are, they do 10 different things, traditional bodybuilding and endurance training. And, it's, so my point to that is I don't think we need to box it into this tiny little, here's what a CrossFitter is, and you must be this, or you can't be considered a CrossFitter. Like, I think people follow methodology at home in their garage gym and they self-identify as a CrossFitter. Welcome to the family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, shoot. Lost it. I had it and then I lost it. You said it. And then, but she did do 21.1 or 24.1, sorry. And, she said something, they were talking together on their update show, and she said something that I thought was really cool. She said that, it didn't define her fitness because she did her best on that day, and maybe her best on that workout might have been better on a different day. Almost kind of like comparing it to NFL or any major league, a 10-7 team can beat a 17-0 team on any given day. Just what's your best on that day. And I thought Hiller's brain was going to explode because for him, it's all about the numbers. And
Right.
so when she said it, I sat back and was, oh, Hiller's about to, but he actually really listened to it and really thought about it and was basically like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like I can see that. I can get that. I think that's kind of a mindset thing. Were you in it because even him, when he did the 3 different 24.1 workouts, he did 3 different workouts and whatnot, and he did better every other day. I wonder if that's just a mindset thing, right? Like your fitness is your fitness on that day, but if your mind is there to push you through it and you're there set and ready to go, and does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a little of both. I mean, I did it twice.
Oof.
I improved by a full minute the second time I did it. And I'm 100% positive if I went and did it right now, I could knock at least another 30 to 45 seconds off, because now I know my normal training partner who beat me by half a minute. Now I know what he did, and I can go do what he did and beat him or get real close, because I train with him. So there's a, kind of a combination of mindset and learning. I think it's learning, like when, why you can beat your score multiple days. I'm not a huge proponent of do-overs, but I do like the concept of redoing an open workout to learn from your previous mistake and figure out what you did. And I learned very quickly when I did it the first time. Like I knew in the first 5 minutes I was screwed when I did it the first time, and I was already going through my mind what I was going to do on my redo 2 days later. And I went in and did that and fixed my score. And I think I could do that a third time too, but that is all mindset. Are you, because what that also takes is not only learning from your mistakes, but you do have to have the mental fortitude to take the pain.
I think Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think that goes back to what you were saying before, is that they're both willing to work hard for each other, right? He's willing to spend the time to do the research to help her if she plateaus, to change her workouts up, to talk about her eating, and she's willing to die on a box jump to get done what he wants to get done, or you know what I mean? They're both willing to go down this long road together. And so that learning piece that you just said about, okay, fine, you did 24.1, you learned from it and you went back and you were willing to go deeper there. There aren't very many coaches and client relation, or not, I don't want to call her a client, athlete
Yeah.
relationships that you trust them that way. Like, I'll do whatever you say, and he's willing to just do all the research and help her along that journey whenever she needs it.
Right.
So the learning value for me is kind of the most, just like you said, you have a training partner, you know him, you learned from him, you watched him do it. He failed, kind of the same coach athlete relationship a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. No, look, you gotta have people in your life. Like, I have people in my life I trust that way. I mean, as soon as 21 or 24.2 was released tonight, I was messaging my coach, here's what I'm thinking. Am I right? And they're like, yeah, you're right. But I trust them enough to ask and not just go do it myself.
Yeah.
I mean, that you have to have that level of trust. And then, I also have enough faith in myself. When I go do what they told me to do and it doesn't work, I'm going to blame them. then I'm going to go try it a different way. There's some trial and error. Like, coaches aren't infallible, so there's a little trust that has to go both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also like the fact that what I've seen the most in their relationship is that, yeah, she talks a lot more to him and tries to get him to understand what it's like to be larger bodied and how he needs to learn a little bit more and how he can help her and share her knowledge with him. But I also, like you said in the beginning, like, Hiller, literally what's in the brain comes out the mouth. Like, he's also going to help. One of the best coaches I've ever had is the coach that was very truthful and honest with me, and look at yourself in the mirror, and like, not just for a second, I always say, don't look in the mirror to put your makeup on or do your hair or brush your teeth. Like, really look at yourself in the mirror, because that's where the truth growth is going to happen. And I think that Hiller really gets her to do that too, where it's like, right, he is your coach, yes, but it doesn't always fall. It doesn't fall on the coach. It falls on the athlete too, of how much dedication and how much are you going to do? What work are you going to do? And I think that the both of them are showing that it does take a team effort to make the changes and do the things. So I've seen that's been the biggest one for me. And like you said, the biggest one is the trust. And that takes time. And like you said, we're not perfect. We do the best that we can. We try things. We think that this might be a good thing. I had a past client reach out to me for 24.1, and we kind of decided like on a plan A and a plan B. Like, she wanted to go for it. I was like, you should. It's a great, those two movements are a great test of fitness. Like, go for it or whatever. And I said, but when you're in there and the plan A starts to go out the window, what are you going to do? So she had that other thing, and she texted me and she was like, it was the perfect plan A and plan B that we did, because plan A blew up. It hurt. It was awful. Like you said, in about 5 minutes, she's like, okay, I paced this way wrong, but she was able to finish it. RX just under the time cap, literally by 1 second. But that's what it is with a coach. You trust that coach to talk about it.
That's what it's all about, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I want to see with this body change that she's about to have, that I can tell that she seems to feel like it's starting to happen with the plateau thing. I'm excited to see what plan Hiller has next for her, and what the next 2-month journey is going to look like. So, Mr. Woolley, thank you for doing this recap with us. I really
of course.
it was super fun. And
wow, we didn't even do anything edgy. I'm shocked.
Well,
You allow. I mean, you let the conversation go where it went. It was good conversation.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, edginess. Yeah, not yet. Maybe maybe next go
Not
around.
yet.
Maybe this
You're not in an edgy mood. I've been roasting Dave Castro all day, so I felt edgy all day today.
Oh,
And then I
did
found
you
out
watch-
I found out I beat him in the first open workout, and I'm like, you
Yes.
created this workout. Like, how the hell do you lose to a 50-year-old meme lord? Jesus Christ! Like, the hell?
Wow, bro. Who else did
I mean,
you
you,
beat?
I mean, you let me program my own workout. I'm gonna put all my wheelhouses in it. You know what I mean? It's
That,
like, come
that
on.
wasn't even a workout for you, was it? 24.1.
No, I'm way too tall for that workout. Are you
I was
kidding
about to
me?
say that's not your
that shit
wheelhouse.
sucks. Yeah. John, how tall
It's
are you?
6 feet, but I have really long
Okay.
legs and arms, so I like have the arms of a 6'2". So like that
Right,
movement,
right.
the dumbbell snatch, I was a little worried about it. Like my biggest bragging point from the workout wasn't beating Dave. It was the fact that 2 years ago, the only workout I scaled in the open was the one that had the 50-pound dumbbell because I couldn't move it.
Mhm.
Like it was just too much, and it was all snatches, and I was just too scared of it. And it was the least of my worries this go round. Like I didn't. It was not
That's
what blew
awesome.
me. It was not what blew me up, you know. But it's a tough movement when you have long legs and long arms because you really have to hinge over to get both of those dumbbell heads to hit the floor, and then you have a longer way to go. And when you start doing the math of it, like the distance difference between me and someone who's say 5'8" with shorter arms, you add a second per movement. By the time you've wrapped up this entire workout, it's another, if you were doing everything unbroken, it's like 30 seconds to a minute and just more time and movement.
Yeah. Sorry. Watch your
No.
tone, Wooly. Better fix
No.
your tone right now.
Oh, tone. I did see that last week.
Don't play.
Dave's tone thing. I got to be honest. Who did I say this to? I forget who I was talking to, but I said I couldn't believe Dave was saying that out loud. And I'm saying that like I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He has every right to feel however he wants to feel. It's just unusual to hear a director level employee of a corporation say out loud, if you don't agree with us, we're going to give you, we're not going to give you preferential treatment.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one for me. That's what I heard in the original Rich Froning video.
I was gonna say the fact that Rich and Dave are
Like,
talking about
when
tone.
Rich was talking to Vandersloot, that's what I heard originally. I heard, hey, you have to pay to play. And if you pay to play, then you have to only show CrossFit in a good light. You can only, show good. To me, if I'm paying to play, you can use my media however you want, but I'm saying whatever I want.
Well, so funny enough, Hiller and I actually talked about this quite a bit. We were DMing back and forth. And he and I have wildly different opinions on what that meant. Like he felt, at least what he told me, I'm not speaking for Hiller, but he told me, he's like, I felt it was really ambiguous, kind of left open for interpretation. And I'm like, I don't. Not only do I think it's not open for interpretation, I think it's black and white that they're saying if you don't agree with them, they're not going to let you cover to the same level they let other people cover. And if that's the case, they don't have media, they have propaganda.
Yes, that's what I thought too.
And
that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
And that's a much different type of media. Now, don't get me wrong. I am all for CrossFit having their own media team and doing nothing but propaganda to get people into the methodology that we all love. Go for it, man. Make all the commercials you want. Make it seem like nothing ever hurts. And let's trick some people into fitness. I'm fine with that.
Yes.
Yeah. But where I get concerned is what happens when they have a press conference. Are they going to let someone like me or Hill or whoever in that's going to ask some tough questions? Or is it always going to be, you can only ask kind, gentle questions of the athletes and of the people running the event?
Yeah.
Why can't we question the fact that you guys plan this event for over a year, and the very first workout, you require everyone to have their back to the dumbbell, but you don't make them do it? Like, someone needs to be able to ask the question, like, how could you make this mistake?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happened? Like, it's a fair question. And so, CrossFit's always had, from the very beginning, a really thin skin around criticism. People forget that it was just a few years ago, Arm & Hammer got escorted off the CrossFit Games site, literally walked out of the...
We were just talking about that. He's the original Hiller.
He's the original.
He was blackballed first, for real.
Yeah. So my point is they have a long history of not handling criticism well. And I just think it's a bad look for a company that, is wanting to build, a greater footprint, for lack of a better term. Like they're wanting to bring more people into the sport. You got to take some criticism and learn from it. And, I think Hiller says things pretty brash at times, and he and I certainly do not agree on everything, but I'll give him.
But it's okay to disagree too.
Yeah. Yeah. I give him full points on being authentic. And I do believe whenever he says things that are tough, he's doing it at least from his viewpoint, with a good heart of wanting to help people.
Yes.
Yeah.
He just says it in a way that people don't want to take the advice.
Yeah.
Myself included. He has certainly said things to me that I'm like, screw you, buddy. I'm not fixing that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's the tone thing was weird to me. It was very weird.
Well, because if they want to be, and I don't know if they do or they don't want to be considered like a professional sport. I have no idea what their goals are or not, but everybody is talking about, hey, let's make CrossFit a professional sport. Well, if it is, I mean, NFL media, they roast the NFL and the commissioner all the time. NBA, they roast the commissioner and the state of the NBA all the time. And it's networks that are partnered with them. So ESPN is not nice to the NFL or the NBA. Outside media is not nice to the NFL or the NBA. They're not nice. They're not even nice to women shit, which apparently now you have to be because we're women and you're supposed to be nice to us. But they're not even nice to women. They're not nice to women's soccer. They're not nice. If you're a professional sport, anybody can get it. Sorry. It's like,
I think, I'm not defending Dave here, but I think what they were trying to say is like Hiller takes some pretty intentional shots at them too. Like the whole Josh Grau thing's a good example of they hire a marketing guy. Nobody knows anything about him. And before the guy even gets onboarded, Hiller just roasts this guy crisp, and even I was like, oh man, I like a good joke, but this is, you're pushing a line, buddy. Like this is tough.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure, cause that's not sport. That's business. Nobody really roasts the commissioner's hire of marketing. Nobody roasts that guy. That guy didn't get hired to get yelled at by a reporter. Like he doesn't.
Goodell gets it. I don't know. Goodell gets it. Like Roger Goodell.
Roger does, but Roger's assistant doesn't. And that's what Josh Grau is in this analogy.
Gotcha. All right.
Right. And so I think that's his point is like, hey, you can't take shots at our everyday people, like the people that you're never going to see compete. These guys are just working hard to try to build the brand. And so I understand that, but there's also the side of me is like, hey, look, I say a lot of crazy shit too. And I don't want them blackballing me any more than they're blackballing him, and I certainly want to make sure that when they're giving press coverage for people that they're fair and equitable about it. And it isn't because they like this guy and they don't like that guy. Everyone should get it. I do think that some of the people doing better coverage should get better spots, if that makes sense. Like there's some people have better quality. Like there's no way they should give me a behind the scenes spot. I couldn't do that coverage if I wanted to. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. Fair. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
So you do have to prioritize it some. Yeah. Like you got to make sure that the people that are talented are getting good spots. But you
prove yourself. If you prove yourself, you can come back here.
But wasn't that what and I don't remember his name that was on
Vandersloot
that was saying that like it's not obviously for everybody, but the higher quality media.
Oh, DeChico. It was DeChico and
it was all of them. Yeah, talking about the, like you were saying, like the ones that bring the valued or the valuable content should be given more permission. And in that particular one, it was the conversation about this year's games, about not having too much access for anybody or any kind of thing like that.
Well, they've been all over the board the last few years. I said fair and equitable, and somebody asked me to explain that, so I'll explain it. Like a few years ago, when Glassman owned the joint, it was the year that they brought in all the world champions. He was really proud of that, and he should have been. It was a cool event, and Greg's idea was he's going to give a press pass out to anybody that wanted to come in and cover it, and he did. And that was the first year I got a press pass. And I roll in there feeling like I'm the big shit, because I got 100,000 followers at the time. And I'm like, oh, I got a press pass. I'm a big deal. And I'm walking around touring the facilities, and I'm next to some guy, and I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, I have a YouTube channel. And so I'm assuming he's like the Hiller type or somebody. And I'm like, oh, how long have you been doing that? And he's like, oh, for a while. I'm like, how many subscribers do you have? And he goes, 7. And I'm like, 7 million, 7,000. He's like, no, I have 7. And I'm like, and you have press pass. They were literally giving it to anyone that wanted to cover. They didn't give a shit. Anyone that applied got it. And now they are taking a different tact, and they actually look to see kind of what your exposure is, like how many people you reach, and what platforms you use. And what they're also doing now is they're not just letting anyone say, oh, I'm a photographer, which they were doing that then too. Now you have to like have real credentials and be a real photographer. Like, as an example, I was on the sideline with my iPhone, right? Next to a guy with one of these huge telephoto lenses.
Gotcha.
So, when I say they should be fair and equitable, I'm just saying they should put rules in place that make sense, saying, hey, if you're going to get behind the scenes coverage,
you have to maybe have a resume.
Yeah, maybe you have to have a resume that fits that type of media. If you're going to have a photographer's resume, you're going to get this kind of coverage, and you have to have a resume that matches this. And if you run a podcast like myself, you have to have so many subscribers, because any asshole can have a podcast. But
100%.
Yeah, all 3 of us here, right? Like anyone can do it, but we all have different reach.
Yeah.
And to be able to say like, all right, well, you both have podcasts. How many do you reach and how many do you reach? And have some fairness around how you're assigning,
I get that,
access,
Sure.
As an example, I don't think I should get the same access as the Buttery Bros or Savan or Craig Ritchie. I don't have anywhere near the reach, and I don't do the same type of work as them.
Yeah. And it's something that honestly that you can tell they do it all day, every day, and know
for a while,
and can geek out on like, I don't know what camera does what. They all have 85. Yeah. There's no reason for me to be taking pictures anywhere. So I get that. I understand
that. iPhone. My pictures come out great on an iPhone.
Yeah.
But if they ever hire a meme lord, they should hire me over all those guys in a heartbeat. Like that's the point.
100%.
Hey, did you think anything, just since you're ready to kick the can, did you think anything about how all of a sudden randomly CrossFit shared Hiller's Haley Adams video, and then I think today they shared Sevon's behind the scenes, which they so adamantly not going to do?
Oh, I didn't realize they said they weren't going to do it.
I mean, they put it up in I think I have it. They put it up in Athena's. She put it up that they were like no promotions for Hiller and Athena, so they weren't supposed to put it on their media. They weren't. Can you check?
I don't know. I don't keep up with that much inside baseball stuff.
Okay. I noticed the behind the scenes one today, and the Hiller, when they shared Hiller the other day, I noticed that, and I was like, wow.
Well, they're probably trying to get Hiller to quit bitching about the collaboration thing, since every time he sends them a collab, he puts it in his story, and it's like with a little watch thing, like ticking his watch, going, how long is it going to be before they decline me?
Jesus.
I don't know. I don't know why any of us should be shared on CrossFit. Like, they have kind of their own thing. It's like they have their media, we have our media. I think it's cool when they share us. Like, I've been shared there before. I think it's cool if they're sharing those guys too. I think they should probably.
They literally told staff months ago that they are not to promote anything of Hiller's. Yeah, okay, I get that. But then that's why it was shocking that randomly the Haley Adams video showed up on their Instagram. It was just weird.
Well, you get enough people yelling about it, you can sway people pretty quickly. And I say that with love for Hiller. Like he certainly isn't afraid to call them out. So it could be them trying to pacify it. I doubt that. I think that Haley video was pretty spectacular. So if it was anything, they're going, man, Haley is America's sweetheart and everybody loves her. And this thing's getting a ton of views, and we are dumbasses if we don't leverage it. Like, again, I don't know. If I were them, that's what I'd be thinking, is like, why am I holding on to this grudge? And there's this great content out there. People just have to let go of that. You know, like you can do mean things and still do great things.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what
what
I mean?
yeah.
You can. I can't answer why they would. I don't work for them. I don't even talk to them. I talk to I literally have like kind of 1-2 friends inside CrossFit, and they have nothing to do with the media stuff.
Yeah.
And literally, we don't even talk about what's going on in HQ. It's like, oh my god, I hate this workout. Like that's kind of our conversation. You know, like
yeah, it was
so.
just funny. It was something that was interesting that popped up today that I happened to see, and I was just kind of what? Wow! Like I saw Dave's week in review, and he is like, if your tone, like that whole thing, if your tone is
Right.
shitty towards up, I'm not going to share anything. And then Hiller's video is up, and Evan's video is up. So
Well, maybe if they're sharing Hiller stuff and playing Savant stuff, maybe Dave will unblock me. Like that's all I can figure. Like I don't know. Like who knows what's going on with those guys? I don't know what they do. They're ridiculous. So.
Well,
You know, I'm in a weird state with CrossFit media as it is. Like everyone's kind of up in arms going, we need better media. We need better coverage. Like, why do we need better media?
I just think
CrossFit
we
is-
need more media.
Well, CrossFit has always been like from the very beginning. It's an affiliation. We pay an affiliation fee for the name. That's all CrossFit owes me. Literally, that's it. I don't need them making a single video to drive my business or people into my affiliate. It'd be nice if they did. So my point is like, it's great if they're sharing their stuff. I don't give a shit if they don't. Like, they just let them do whatever they want to do. As long as they keep the methodology, and they don't go out of business and I can keep using the name, I'm pretty happy because it's a killer methodology and the name carries a lot of weight.
Well, I'm petty, and I know it's Thursday, but I like Petty Wap Wednesday, and so I want to see all of the coverage of everything, whether it's the games, the
Health side.
yeah, I want to see it all. I want to see the drama unfold. I want to see the behind the scenes, everything. I want to see.
Yeah, but why should CrossFit do it? Savant's doing behind the scenes. Could CrossFit do it better than him?
No.
Okay. So Hiller does, well, I don't know what they would do that Hiller does, but
it's the drama. It's the same way that, but hold on, but let me push back though. The same way that the NBA like will throw up, or the ESPN will throw up the video of the kid that shot off the gun 5 times on Instagram and he lost $60 million, and that it's the drama of real people in real high pressure situations with a lot of money that they just got. That's why it's so interesting that everybody was talking about teenagers dropping out of CrossFit for a while, because it's a human story.
I'm with you. Here's my point. Why should CrossFit do it? In the old days, the stuff that used to come out, I watched it like everybody else. And the reason I watched it like everybody else is CrossFit was the only one who could do it. If you use the word CrossFit and try to create content, Greg would sue the pants off of you. Mm-hmm. I literally changed the initial name of my meme page because I was afraid of getting sued by him. Right? Like that was a common occurrence. The reason why CrossFit shouldn't have to do it now is the best content creators are already in the space. CrossFit can't do a better job than Craig Ritchie, the Buttery Bros, Savon, whoever, and bluntly, they're not going to invest money in doing those things because it's not going to help them sell the brand. Why spend the money? We're all doing it for free. Why spend the money? I quite literally said to Don Paul once, I'm like, you know what your biggest mistake is you didn't put Morning Chalk up out of business.
Yeah.
Like you should have come in on day one and re-release the journal and quit sending out press releases. And you should be the first to release all your own content. Don't let other people control your own story. Mm-hmm. But they're not going to do that because it costs time and money.
Right.
So they're going to let Morning Chalk up and Barbell Spin and Savon and Buttery Bros and Craig and me and Hiller and everybody else sell their story for them because it's free for them. And the price for that freedom is having to put up with Hiller roasting your ass every once in a while.
I mean, that's cool though.
I mean,
it's true though.
Yeah.
He does drive shit. Like I get it. It's fine. They'll be
financially, that's why they do it. That's it. Otherwise, they'd go hire Savon back, or they'd hire the Buttery Bros back. Hell, they don't even pay Sean and Tommy who used to work for them. You know, I should have thrown them in too. Like all the best content creators worked for HQ. That's why they're not going to create their own media now. All the best people are doing it for free.
And you also make a really good point too. Like back when Greg was there, everybody was on a leash. You could only do what Greg allowed you to do. And if you tried to do something else, then it was a possibility he could sue you. Now everybody in the space has the freedom to do what they want. Can you imagine Sevan or Hiller doing things under CrossFit the same way that they do them on their own platforms? So maybe
none of them would. None of them would.
Get more of the drama from the individual scenes then.
None of these channels would exist had Greg not had the foresight to get rid of everybody.
That's funny. I wonder what that actually looked like what his thought process was around that. He just wanted to give everybody this shot to make their own stuff and then was just giving out the live feed or sold out the live feed that he had.
No, I think they were looking for a cost savings.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I mean, it was the same time that they canceled regionals. I mean, that, you know, again, I'm only speaking from second and third hand knowledge of talking to people, including the people in that media space that lost their jobs. But, you know, they needed to save. They were spending a lot of money. I don't know how much they needed to save, but they were spending a lot on regionals. So they'll call them $1 million per event, and there's 7 or 8 events. That's a lot of money for very little return to go put on a game that's going to break even at best. And now you're paying all this media on top of it to make all these videos and content that takes time and energy away from what you're best at. You know, so you can save that expense by getting rid of it. And the end result of saving that expense was you got these great content creators. You know, Buttery Bros were the first to go out, and then Talking Elite Fitness at the same time, who went out and created 2 great channels and cultivated big followings and started creating all the exact same content they were before for free. Although, you know, Heber and Marston's content was new because they weren't in front of the camera before, but now they're, you know, creating this new thing, you know, and then you had a bunch of podcasts pop up like me and Armin and some others. You know, at least this was the initial run of all of it. And so now they're getting all this free coverage.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you want that? It costs you nothing. It gets you, you know, all the press you want. And, you know, and all of us were, at least at the time, you know, that group, you know, weren't roasting CrossFit. We were still kind of scared of getting sued. You know, Hiller was the first one, in my opinion, to really push that envelope of, you know, Armin did some, clearly, since it got kicked out that one time. But
yeah, I remember when he got reinstated, where Dave unblocked him, or he was allowed back in CrossFit media space. So, yeah.
And then, you know, then the final piece was when Eric fired Sevan. Again, I don't know the details. Only what I've seen them talk about on the show is then it created that show over time. Like it evolved to that show. And again, like, you think CrossFit's going to put on 7 to 10 shows a week?
True.
With the kind of research and background work they put into that, and the, you know, the quality effort, and no, not a.
And they literally only do it to promote CrossFit, like promote CrossFit L1, promote doing the open, they promote the health. Like they literally, the health summit, they literally just do it to promote CrossFit.
I mean, yes. So there's no reason for CrossFit to do it. They've dabbled. They have a little podcast, and it's quaint. You know, nobody listens to it. You know, it's just not good. And that's about the best they do. And what they do really well are open announcements and the games, and excluding teenagers and masters. But the games is good. You know, that coverage is good. That's where they're going to spend their money. And so it's smart of them. They're saving a ton of money, and everybody's doing the work for them for free. So that media is not coming back, and everybody needs to get over it because it's never coming back.
I just hope the other thing that we heard in that podcast with Froning, DeChico, and Vandersloot was just that they decreased in the new venue. They decreased the media pit. So they don't even know how many, if there's even going to, so if you're not going to put out your own media and you're not going to, you know, increase the outside media availability, then why do you know what I mean? You just said, why would CrossFit do it if outside media is going to do it for them? And now you're going to decrease their
outside media.
Yeah, the outside media in the venue, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, they decreased it last year too. You know, they gave three behind the scenes covers to those groups, and then everybody else could have a press pass. But if you were down in the pit in years past, you could have 2 or 3 people down there. And last year it was like you could only have 1 or 2. Like, you know, so
That's
That's
what it sounds like. Is it's going to be even less this year. So they're going to have even less outside media.
Well, they did that at regionals last year too, or whatever they were called, semis. I can't tell you how many photographers I talked to that were pissed off. They couldn't even get a pass.
Oh.
They were I was literally sitting in the stands that I paid for, watching people taking photos with their telephoto lens in the stands, you know, because that's the only way they could get it. And that's what you're going to see in Dallas is,
so what it
people
sounds
doing
like to me is
non-traditional
you
coverage.
can't have a blemish on your record. You can't have any tone anywhere in any podcast, in any picture, or you're not getting it.
Yeah, I don't believe that's going to be true, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not applying for a press pass, so I could care less. I'll be interested to see how it shakes out. I can do all my same coverage sitting in my seat, you know, make my memes on my phone and talk to people and schedule podcast guests the way I normally do. So it doesn't impact me even a little, but I can't imagine that'll completely hold true. But I do think it'll shape how people create content, because to your point, they'll be far more careful about what they say and do, because they don't want to, you know, rattle the man. Yeah, they don't want to have a tone. It's too bad. It's too bad too, because I hate to see anyone be censored. You know, it's
that's what it's really sounding like.
Yeah,
like a censorship.
If it's your own content, you should be able to say whatever. Like, you know, Nikki and I cuss all the time on our show like sailors, and we cover whatever content we want. No one tells us what we can and can't do, and I'd never let anyone ever. You know, so
hi Athena. I'm sorry. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's what it sounds like to me too. Is there's a little bit of censorship going on. So, you know,
Birchfield.
I'm not. We'll see. I think it's going to be an interesting month, and the rest of the Open should be interesting. And
here's my commitment to the community. If they do censor people and only let people in that are nice to them or have good tones, I'm gonna take the entire week in Dallas and do nothing but Dave memes the whole week.
I'm about it. I'll wait for it.
Right up until the point they kicked me out of Dickey's Arena.
That's amazing.
That's it. Better get that on film.
Well, we'll see. And I'm excited for the rest of this month. And I'll keep tabs with you, dude. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for being spicy. I love it. I love space. I love spicy John. Pause. Okay. Clinton things.
Bye, guys.
Deuces.
Bye, John.
Bye, John.
Yeah.
Thank you.